AD Racers, this is going to be the Super Jockey Bot Part 2, checking in with you guys to give it a little bit of insight and also to share with you some of the new stuff that's coming out. So here on this page, you can see this is superjockeybot.com. He is opening up another 10-day trial, which we highly, highly recommend if you are interested in this bot to go sign up for this. Click the try for now or try for free, join his Discord, and you can get engaged with everybody else out there. Now, as promised in the previous video, we were talking about sharing with you some of our results. So here I was running 4 different horses inside this campaign. Skondert is my champion. Golda, she was going through a little bit of what we call training. And then there's Naysayer and Donde. Now, these values here that you're seeing are the profit per race. Very quickly, Naysayer and Donde, they just were not doing it for me on the bot. I couldn't trust them. They were losing me money, so I just quickly disabled them inside the system. My initial usage of Golda was to finish training. So she was doing about 40 races on average out the gate. Her PPR or profit per race was a loss. As you can see, my first day I lost 29 Dirk, then I lost 12.5 Dirk, and the third day I finally got a little bit back. So once I got Golda going and out of her training, I was then able to try to stop the bleed by focusing on some of her better tracks. Now, Skondert, on the other hand, he was winning quite a lot quite quickly. So the first 2 days were a little bit bad luck, but you could see the rest of it was ultimately green. So what that looked like for my stable, if I scroll down from here, it took me about a first 10 days or so just to start showing profitability. There was a lot of loss in the beginning, stayed flatlined, and then starting on the 27th, I've been seeing a perpetual climb. That is ultimately thanks to Skondert. So when I compare Skondert here on the left to Golda here over on the right, you could see that she lost money, was flatlined. I started to adjust my strategy once more for her. She's starting to show signs of climbing up. Skondert took very little to get his strategy dialed in to be profitable, but ultimately it was trying to figure out the best way to maximize his profit.
We know that every horse is cyclical. And if you scroll back up to what you saw at the top there, Skondert being green most of the days is pretty impressive. You're definitely going to have down days. It's something to be reminded of, especially when you're training. But even with the good horses, it's good to be reminded that you won't have green every day necessarily. So it's good to see that overall your stable's heading in the right direction.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident that with some of the changes I've made, it's going to continue to grow. One thing I think is really important for everybody else that's out there is to be able to compare your stable versus my stable so you can see if your numbers are going to be possibly repeatable. This is on the D-Racing org stats page. So Golda here, her ID is 80. Feel welcome to look her up. Now, Golda, this is her stats. She has about 9 races or tracks where she is faster than the average population. When I switch to Skondert, Skondert is faster than the average population on 19 tracks. So with Skondert, I was really heavily focusing on areas where 40% podium rate. I was attacking those big hitters. I was skipping out on a lot of the cheaper races because, again, I'm going for the bigger money to pay off my training with my donkeys. So if you have a horse that you think is comparable to Skondert, I think that this bot is going to become profitable for you. If your best horse is more like Golda, you might have to run a bit more strategic attempts. Now, don't know what all that's going to mean yet. I'm going to spend the next week or two probably processing a bit more of this data, really dialing in on Golda to figure out if I can get her to climb into profitability. But she's sitting around a 27% podium rate, and that right now is not favorable. Skondert is around 34% podium rate and definitely is.
So one thing that I'm noticing on here is you've been clearly targeting the synthetic 10s. You've got 88 total runs there. It's your fastest against the population. Could you click on the profit per race? And let's get that column added to the chart. That one, it looks like you're profiting at 0.24 PPR there. So clearly you've identified one that Golda can make you money on. I think for anyone listening to this, when you're training your horse and then comparing the data on dracing.org stat page, you're going to be looking for those tracks where your horse can go faster than the population. But you also want to identify the ones where it can get you in the top spot on the podium. You don't just want to be sneaking in third place necessarily. So you want to be seeing a decent first place percentage. Anything over 20% is really good there. Anything over 10 to 15% can start to make you money, depending on whether or not you get a lot of second and third place as well. But you're going to be looking for that profit per race column. See if there's any that you've maybe not really thought about continuing to run. Try it a few more times. Use the bot. It's fantastic. There's a lot of stuff that you can do with strategy to identify which tracks you want to race and which ones might provide you profit.
Now, on that strategy note, definitely would agree with you on those things. My personal way of looking at this is looking at the first place. I really don't want second place. I don't want third place. They don't yield as much. So I'm trying to target the ones that are high hitting here and also that I have a decent amount of experience. So for Golda, my strategy with her, if I go back over into the bot itself, you'll notice that when I open this up, I am now exclusively looking at 9 furlong, 10 furlong, and 11 furlong on synthetic. Now, I did limit her to be 1 and 2 Dirk max, mostly because I just don't have high confidence in her. This is enough that I'm like, if I go to bed, she's not going to wipe out Skondert's winnings. So just she can keep going. And that's where I'm being a little bit more conservative with her.
Now, are you doing the same thing with Skondert, or no? It looks like
Polar
you.
opposite.
Okay.
Now, I was originally going only with 3s and 4s. I dropped it down to 2 to 4. I would prefer 3 to 4 right now. Skondert, I'm exclusively focusing on the places that he just dominates. So I have my 7 on my synthetic and the 5, 6, 7s, 8s on turf, and I'm leaving everything else out. On one Dirk Monday, of course, I do adjust this. When it's a busier day, I will sometimes dump some of the 2s because I really want to just focus on the 3s and 4 Dirk races. The other thing that I noticed, because we're also getting cyclical racers, and so some days it looks like there's only about 20 people racing at a time, and I think a couple of them are other bot users. So one thing that I changed recently that I'll give away my secret is I did adjust it to be my minimum before joining. I set it to 0. I think the bot's default is 4, but
yeah, 3 or 4. I've got mine set to 3 right now.
okay. So the thing that my working theory on this one is when you're set to 3 or 4, you're allowing other racers to pick which races we're all going to compete on. If everybody's waiting to see 3 or 4 show up, that means whoever has the guts to be the first 3 to enter have the likelihood of triggering everybody else's bot to compete against you.
Interesting.
So my strategy has been, I'm trying to set it to 0. So if Skondert's preferred racetrack appears, he's going to get in there first, hoping that other people's bots are going to follow him in. And basically, it's my trap to encourage people to race Skondert in his prize location.
That's that's really interesting. I think that works really well because you use the 2 to 4 Dirk setting. If you were doing the 1 Dirk, I'd be really concerned that you go in as the first horse, 5 other horses trickle in, you end up running a 1 Dirk 6 horse race and barely winning any money, even when you do win.
Mm-hmm.
That's not going to be as valuable. But if you're able to drive the races you want at the higher Dirk prize money, that's going to be a good strategy.
Yeah, so far for the past week, Skondert has had profitability every single day of the week. It's growing, so I'm hoping that can stay pretty steady. But let's see, I'll go back to this page here so everybody can see this once more. Make sure that you do sign this up, superjockeybot.com. I'm gonna put everything in the description so you can get access to Discord, to this website if you haven't already seen this stuff. But 10-day trial is definitely a good thing to do. Get yourself some experience on that one.
Now it says try for free. Do you have any information on how much this would typically cost?
Yeah, so he's currently posting it as 1 ETH for the whole program, which is, I believe, lifetime access. And then he's also doing a 1-month extension for 0.1 ETH. So if you do the trial, you're starting to see something. I believe it's only going to cost you 0.1 ETH to extend it. And then if I understand it correctly, the extension, whatever you pay for that is going to get applied to the final process or price. So wouldn't it be 1.1 ETH? It would be 0.9 ETH when you finish it out.
Nice. I know that I've been training a couple of horses, and we'll have a future video on that. It took me Basically about a week to get data on those horses across all tracks. But I know that the bot is great, the trial's great. I would definitely want to be extending at least 30 days to be able to then see if I could profit.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting once V2 shows out and we're going to start to get experience. There's going to be other forms of value, not just the prize money. So that's going to give a better ROI position to the bot. And I think this is going to be stuff that we'll need to cover in the next videos. The other thing that I wanted to bring up about this was the amount of free time is incredible. Going from watching the page or the race page like 4 to 6 hours a day to now barely watching it at all. I got to admit, I really, really enjoy the free time. It's allowing us to focus on making these kinds of videos, doing our real work and spending time with family. So that's a hard thing to put a price tag on too.
Absolutely. And just a reminder, make sure to sign up for that free trial. We'll make sure to put links in the bottom of this video so that you can take a look at the website, at the Discord, and get a chance at that free trial.
Excellent. So on the next video, we're hoping to give you guys more information about returns on this investment. We'll get a chance to dig into Mark because he has a lot more horses going through training right now. So his data is just a mess and a lot of data entry and analysis to do. But
absolutely.
More to come, guys. Thanks for watching.